Okay. Okay, so today we're going to do, it's like a very interesting character trait, and that is respect. Okay, it's a big one because I don't know if there is so much left of it out there. It's going to become, respect is going to become like an antique, like the tape recorder. All right. Okay, so it says Granny's iPhone. Maybe that's her. Let's see. Not sure who Granny's iPhone is. Nope, I guess it's not. Okay, so are you ready? Okay, so when I talk about the word respect, what do you think the definition is? Like just a dictionary definition when it comes to respect. It's a hard word to really define if you think about it. Want to say something? Yeah, Lynn?
No, I just wanted to stretch my arm.
Oh, that's like in school, you know, don't you have to go to the bathroom? No, just stretching my arm.
Or like an auction, and I just
Or in an auction, you're lucky you didn't have to buy something. Okay, so I'll give you the dictionary definition. So its definition is to regard or to treat someone with respect and admiration. It's to show or give honor to someone, to show admiration for someone or something in a public way. That's an interesting idea. To give public honor to someone or something. Okay, that's what it means to respect. And it's interesting, in Hebrew, the word, does anybody know what the word in Hebrew is for respect? Think if you know the 10 Commandments. No, anybody know? Okay, so it's kabed. Okay, so kabed you should honor your father and your mother. And if you look at the word kabed in Hebrew, it also means heavy. Isn't that interesting? Like when something is heavy. So why do you think the word heavy, where would you see a correlation between the concept of respect and heavy?
You're carrying something.
Okay, very good. Okay, so you're carrying something. Who's the person, when you're looking at the honor story, who's doing the carrying? Like, where is the carrying coming in?
Carrying.
Affecting.
I know you have it, like I know it's to articulate it, but I know that you understand it. So I think what you're carrying is like the person who is being respectful to someone is carrying an attitude towards them. And then the person who is being respected, there's a concept like, you know, if something is weighty, like it has value, you know, like something is heavy, like, you know what I mean? It weighs on me. There's something of value. There's something there. So it's almost in both directions. Do you know what I mean? Like I look at you as something worthy. I look at you as something heavy, as something important. And the concept of the person who is being honored, they're weighty, they're heavy, they have a presence, they have an importance. So it actually, I can see it in Hebrew making sense, like it's working in both directions. Now it's very interesting. Where's the first time in the Torah that you talk about this concept of honor? Any ideas? Okay, so some people would say, the first time you ever hear about it is in the 10 Commandments, right? Like everyone knows that, right? Does everybody know that's a very famous commandment? Honor your mother and your father. Yes, you've heard it. Okay, and if you're a parent, you should know it by heart. Okay, all right, so that you could use it on your kids. Okay, so honor your parents. Okay, and if you were a child, you need to know you had to honor your own parents. Okay. But the very, very, very first time it shows up, okay, is in the Garden of Eden when we say that Adam and Chava, first man and first woman, they make a mistake, right? They eat from the tree of knowledge of good and bad. They weren't supposed to. And after that, like the body takes on, yay, Raya, birthday girl's here. Okay. And what's it called? The body takes on a different view. Okay, so before that, body and soul were very separate. They both had their mission, and you could understand that you were more soul than you were a body, right? And the body was your earth suit to facilitate you. Once they ate from that, it became yin and yang, like good and bad were confused, right? Like with every good, there was bad, with every bad, there was good. Like there was a confusion, and body took on its own strong force, all right, a very strong force. And, people lust after the body, right? So the first time you will see honor is that God says you have a chance to repent. You have a chance to make up for that mistake. And I'm going to cover your body so that you can feel respect. That walking around with like naked, right? And having all these feelings about the body isn't the greatest thing, because then you lose who you really are. So clothing, it says that God respected men and Adam and Chava, and he dressed them. So which means clothing can and respect are linked. So what does that mean? Tell me, how do you think in our world clothing and respect is linked? Okay, so when you're, there's a really bad echo. Does anybody know why?
Acknowledging who they are, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Acknowledgement of who they are.
yeah. There's like a bad echo, but I don't know where it's coming from. Ugh. Okay, so when you wear clothing, like, listen, it's an interesting idea. Like, you know, when people are dressed a certain way, you feel more inclined to respect them. And when they're dressed a certain way, you could feel less respectful. So give me an idea of when people are dressed respectfully, so to speak, and when people are dressed disrespectfully.
Right.
So tell me, let me hear from you.
Yes.
Hi, Raya.
Well, I think
Hello.
Hello, Raya, are you there?
Yes,
There's a-
I'm here.
Okay, so happy birthday. All right, ladies, we're all wishing
Happy-
Raya happy birthday. Woo!
happy birthday, Raya.
Thank you, thank you.
Feels geluk, lieve Raya.
Thank you.
Afrikaans. Okay, good. I'm just worried about this funny, oh no, the echo seemed to have gone away. Okay, beautiful. So we're talking about, Raya, we're talking about respecting people, and we're talking about the first time you see respect in the Torah, it's actually associated with clothing. And it says that God clothes the Adam and Eve, you know, Adam and Chava, and that he showed respect to them by putting clothes on them. So now we're talking about, like, when people get dressed, some people are dressed and you feel like you can respect the way they look, and some people are like, you know what I mean, dressed in a way and you're like, whoa, I don't really respect that. So I wanted people to give me an example, you know, when, where, how, and talk about this. Okay, so
I think when you see some of these youngsters who are trying to get off as many clothes as possible, shorts going, excuse me, right into the
yes, I know.
backside and
Disgusting.
virtually showing as much, and the dresses right down to show what they've got
Yeah,
on their boobs.
yes.
That sort of gives a feeling of disrespect.
Okay, perfect. So why would you say that? Like, I hear you. I tend to agree with you, but I want to understand, because it's very hard today to explain this to people. Like, when you're telling people, like, I know, like, the shorty shorts that are very alluring and they show every part of your tushy, and, you know, you're trying to express to your granddaughter, right, your daughter, like, it's not respectful. Who is it not respectful to?
To themselves.
Ah,
Oh,
beautiful.
thank you,
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Lynn, that's what I wanted to hear. And it's disrespectful to others too, but to the person you're doing the most harm is to yourself. Why? Why is, like, you know, and I hate it when I see it not only in youngsters, like, you know, you can see it in sometimes people who are much older too. Like, I really feel like they're disrespecting themselves. Like, they're making a mistake, you know, like, you can see these older people with the little halters on and this and that, and everything's hanging and wrinkly, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, they're making a mistake. Okay, they're disrespecting something. So what is it that they're really disrespecting? When you're all body, what are you really disrespecting about yourself?
Your body.
Yeah, so you're disrespecting the body in that what? Like, what's going on here?
Sending the wrong message.
Yes. Okay, Rochelle, what message are you sending? Oh, that was very important. What message are you sending?
How you feel about yourself.
And what is it that I feel about myself? When I'm just showing you every part of me, what am I showing about myself? What am I showing to you? If I have to walk around with that kind of, like, you're looking at all my body parts, what am I telling you?
they don't think they're attractive, and this is what their version of attraction is.
You're looking at it and you're saying, this is the most important part of me, because it overwhelms whoever is looking at you, right? So if I'm showing you everything that way, then when that person is looking at you, they primarily can only see that part of you, right? There isn't a, it's not a, it's not by accident that people do this, right? Because that's a way that they can get a lot of attention, right? And a lot of like people going, oh, look at those legs, look at those, la, 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 la. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff, right? Right. So people ended up like, you can get a lot of like admiration for something that you really didn't do much for. Do you know what I mean? Like some people got nice legs, so God blessed you with nice legs, he blessed you with this, he blessed you with that. Like, but what does that have to do with you? What's the real you? Is the real you your legs and your tushy and your whatever? Is that
And
really
yourself.
right? So there's an inner you. That's why we say clothing can honor you, because it becomes something that's dignified. And it really tells you, like, you can look at me in a dignified manner, but I am not these body parts. There's something so much deeper. Do you know what I mean? So this person can actually be able to look at you. Like, really, we all have to be honest. Like, there is a sensation. There is a body reality. There isn't a what's it called? A stimulated thing that happens when people walk around all naked. The problem is when everybody's walking around like that, then after a while you're not stimulated anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like it just becomes one big, it's just like when you go to the butcher, you see a couple fine pieces of meat. So okay, they're attractive. But if you go into the butcher and there's like thousands of cows hanging on, you'd be like, eh, after a while you don't want to look at it, right? So it's just an interesting idea. So one way to give honor, like, and that's why you'll see, like, if you ever look at the royal family, you're not going to catch them in clothes that are overly revealing. Do you know what I'm saying? Right? Like if you look at, what's her name, Kate Middleton, like you'll see, right? What's she wearing? You're going to see Kate Middleton, walking, in a, what's it called, a bikini with ripped jeans. Like, I don't think so. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because there's a certain respect that she has for herself. There's a certain image that she wants to project, right?
Wired to do.
What required, right? That could be, because in certain, I'm glad you said that too, Rochelle, because I like that. I actually like that idea. I really like that idea that you are required. That's what the Torah tells you. You are required to respect yourself and to dress in a way that's respectful to who you really are. That's what the Torah tells you. It's like, it's an interesting thing, what you're saying. It's really interesting. So this is idea, like sometimes who you really are is what people want to respect.
You have to get to know the person to know who
Yes.
they are.
Oh, beautiful.
Judged by the way they're dressed.
Yes.
We're talking extreme.
Yes, I'm talking extreme. I'm not talking, no, everyone is, I'm talking very extreme, like, see, like people today, like, really even, I just want to mute this for a second. Even, I'll tell you what I find interesting, like, guys, tell me what you really feel about it, because I'm like confused. When you see these people, like people dressed in the jeans that they pay and they're all ripped. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Right.
does anybody know what I'm talking about? Like, you see these kids and they're wearing, not even kids, like people are paying like a lot of money, like $300 for jeans that are ripped, okay, really ripped, like shredded in the front. And like sometimes, I remember sometimes seeing it, and I really want to cry for these girls, like freezing cold winter, and you could see these red knees, you know what I mean? Because their jeans are all ripped. So what do you think about that? Like, go back in time. Like, imagine if you went to your mother and came home with, you paid $300 for designer ripped jeans. Okay. What would anybody's parent here say to them? Like, I'm just being real. Would they,
My children had
You must be out of your mind.
you must be out of your mind, right, Jackie? That's what they would be saying. They would think you're crazy. Why? It's very funny, because the Torah itself says to dress respectfully. You know what the Torah says? You have to have clean clothes and they shouldn't be ripped. That's what the Torah says, to dress respectfully. Like, because there's something about like honoring who you are and honoring yourself as a person.
How much you value yourself.
Yes, and how you value yourself. So it's just an interesting, like I find it interesting because we wear ripped jeans today. Like think about it for a second. We wear ripped jeans and they're like a standard like that. That's great. And I'm laughing too. Like, do you ever see the guys' pants today? Okay, how do boys wear pants today? Has anybody noticed? Like,
They just below the division of the two cheeks of the
yeah,
back.
like you could see their underwear, right? Like the guys are all walking around with their underwear.
Sometimes you can't see the underwear, you can just see the.
Or you could see whatever. You could see things you don't want to see. I'm just asking. So, like, I remember the first time I saw it, I was gonna say to the guy, I think you have to lift. I was gonna say, excuse me, I don't want to embarrass you, but if you have to lift your pants up. I think the guy thought I was crazy. I didn't realize that
It was a style.
Okay, I'm like, so I'm like, oh, sorry. I'm not doing him a
And his
favor.
mother never told him not to wear them.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just funny. Like this is just Gail Michalowicz's thought. There's a huge dip today in the concept of respect. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're right.
Right.
I'm
But
correct,
we have
right?
different things to worry about. So sometimes you choose other things and
Right.
allow some things in a child's life.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, there's a huge dip, huge. And it's really affecting the world because when you do not respect, what happens? Like that, we need to understand what respect means. Like the Torah goes out of its way to say, Kabed es avicha v'es imecha. So the letter Vav in Hebrew stands for the word and. So it says, respect your father and your mother. So the rabbis say and means even more people. And who else? Who else does the Torah tell you to respect? Very interesting. Older people, the Torah tells you have to have a lot of kavod for people who are on the planet for a long time. Because these people have earned their keep. They have a lot of wisdom. Do you know what I mean? And you have to respect them. Do you live in a world that respects older people today?
No.
There are a lot who don't.
I think totally the opposite. And unfortunately, like it's forced us, like I'm myself included, like all of us, anyone who's over 60, okay? So it's forced all of us to kind of feel a little bit left behind. And then it makes you kind of feel like the only way you could be part of it is if you become with it. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Right? And then suddenly, like, everybody needs, plastic surgery. We need tons of fake eyelashes. Like, we need it all. Not because we're bad people, there's something bad about it, but because we feel like no one's going to even notice us unless we look like everybody else. It's really painful in some ways. Do you know what I mean? Like, so aging today has become like, and the way they want you, like, so all the ads, everything is about these, like, aging. It's not aging gracefully. It's almost aging backwards. Like, you know what I mean? Like, aging means you're just going to have to readjust to make yourself look like you're younger. Do you know what I mean? That's what do you know what I'm saying? I'm not knocking any of this. I'm just talking my feelings. I'm just want to share with you and I want to hear what your perspectives are. So the Torah goes out of its way the opposite. The Torah feels that the older you are, it's interesting, the closer you were to Sinai, which means the more wisdom you have, the more character you have, the better you are. It's such an interesting idea. It's totally opposite. So it's a very famous story. It was a very famous rabbi, Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, really famous rabbi. So he was sitting on an airplane and next to him was this guy. He struck up a conversation. The guy was a total atheist and he saw that he was like a very, wise rabbi. So he was just asking questions. And while he was talking to him, every few minutes, his grandson would come up and say, Zaidi, anything I can do for you? Excuse me, Zaidi, but please, could I fix your pillow? Oh, Zaidi, maybe you need a drink. Maybe, Zaidi, I can do this. So, Rav Yaakov would say, oh, thank you, Shleimala, but I'm okay, right? So the guy sitting next to him, he said, I can't believe this. Like your child, this grandchild of yours, look at how he shows you so much respect and so much honor. Like, what's your secret? So he said, the difference between you and me is that you're an atheist, right? So by you, it's all evolution. Originally everybody was a monkey and then he became a man, So the farther you are away from the beginning of history, you think the better. But in Judaism, it's the opposite. The closer you were to God's revelation when he brought the Torah, right? The holier you are, the more clarity you have. So in our reality, it's the reverse. So the young have a lot of respect for the elderly. In your reality, the younger you are, the more you deserve respect. It's such an interesting idea. You know what I mean? So this is what we have to look at. So what does respect mean? And the Torah is telling you not only your people who are older than you, not only your mother, not only your father, but your teachers, right? Your rabbis, your leaders. This is what the Torah tells you. You have to respect, if we had a David HaMelech, if today we had a King David, no, we wouldn't have, publish all the dirt on him and, the kind of stuff that they do to politicians today. And unfortunately, many of the politicians aren't worthy of much more, but that's another story, right? But you know what I'm trying to say? It's just an interesting idea. So in the Torah, what does it mean to respect someone? It's very interesting. So to respect someone, the Torah tells you, is to acknowledge their good, to actually look at the person and look at them and see what you feel is so good about them. And because you respect what is good about them and the knowledge or the expertise that they bring to the table, you demonstrate respect to them as a way of acknowledging it. Do you know what I mean? You look at them and it's like an honor, it's a pleasure, it's a privilege to help you, to talk to you, to be with you, right? It's not like my pain in the neck and, okay, all right, I have to do this, right? That's what the Torah tells you. It's an acknowledgement of their greatness, right? So when you're in the Torah's view, believe this, life has changed. But originally, every time your Bubi and Zaidi came in the door, do you know what you had to do? What's a Jewish child supposed to do when a Bubi and Zaidi come to the door?
Get up.
Stand up.
Raya, excellent. Phyllis, excellent. Okay, number one, they're supposed to go to the door, open the door and greet them, and you have to stand up. And when they leave, you know what you're supposed to do?
Mhm. You walk them out a few steps.
Yes. You walk them out. Okay, you say goodbye, you walk them out. We are in a new world, right? We don't greet people. We don't even, if you would ask a kid to lift their head up off the cell phone, that would already be a huge thing. I'm being real, right? You walk in the room, for them to just put the cell phone down would be a miracle, right? And not to text while they're actually talking to you, right? Or while you're talking to them, things have really gone, we would call it astray, right? Everything is just it's going astray. It's derailing. So the Torah tells you, how do you get kavod? How do we get kavod? It's a very interesting answer. What do you think is the answer? How do we get kavod? Let's say each and every one of us, everyone wants to feel respected. And I don't think it's something the Torah says that we all need.
Don't you get it by giving it?
Yes, who said that? Lynn, excellent. Okay, that's exactly what the Torah says. Who ezahu mechubad? Who is the one who is honored? Hamechabed es habrios, the person who respects other people. So when you deal with people and you are respectful to other people, then they become respectful to you. So now let's really understand, what would that mean? Give me examples of what it means to be respectful to other people.
Listen instead of talking.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, it's probably one of the hardest ones, right? I really find it, not to interrupt, right? That's what you're saying, listen instead of talking. Beautiful. What's another way to be respectful?
Understand what they want or what they feel they should.
Yeah. So that's good.
respect and not you to have to say, but no, you must have this.
Right.
I think it's best. You know, I know better. Sort of
Okay,
thing.
so like appreciate other people's opinions, right? Validate is a very nice thing in a way to be respectful, right? And then like the things that we were talking about before, just actions that are respectful, right? Actions that are respectful, right? It's very nice, like to greet people, eye contact. Like we're living in a world today. I was so shocked at this one. Like they were talking about like the kids are going back now they're trying to get them back into schools. I mean, obviously now it's the summer vacation, but the plans for the going ahead now, right? The plans for going ahead now is they're going to have to give kids classes on how to talk to each other, because the combination of COVID with technology has wiped people's ability to actually speak to each other. So we had this person speaking to us. He's a child psychologist, right? So a child psychologist and child psychiatrist, sorry. He said that he had a girl come into the office, like this really was scary. Okay, girl came into the office, 16, right? And she was going to go up to the cottage with her best friend, and they were going to drive in the car together, sitting next to each other in the back. Like the parents are going to drive them up, they're sitting in the back next to each other. This kid was hysterical because she was thinking, how am I going to talk to this friend? Like, I'm just used to texting her. How am I going to talk? Like she had to go to the psychiatrist to help her be able to articulate. So what do I want to say to you? This is what he said, and I was really shocked. I didn't know this. Maybe you would, Jackie, maybe you know this. He was saying that the written word only communicates 7% of what the person really wants to say. Where do you see what the person is really saying? In the tone of their voice and in their body language. I mean, I never have to be honest, Jackie, I never thought of that. Like I just thought, okay, so if I write you in my little text, you got my message. Such a poor assumption. That's why sometimes people get very mad at each other from the emails and the texts, because they're not seeing, you know, they're not seeing your facial expression. They're not seeing like I talk a lot, look at me with my hands, you know, flying around. So, right. And I make all these motions, right? That's how I talk. So to me, that's really sending you my inner feeling, right? You're not getting it. So it can say, thank you. Now you're getting the text. Okay, I send you, thank you, right? So now you read, depends on what mood you're in. You read, thank you. Okay, you're in a bad mood. That's what you think I texted. You're in a good mood. Thank you. Do you see what I'm saying? But you don't know what, right? Jackie, unmute. Sorry. What were you going to say?
I'm going to say you could use exclamation marks and
Yeah, you can help. You can help. Like, yeah.
But you still don't see your
Right.
facial or your
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. You can try. And imagine when you add the exclamation mark. Like I can interpret an exclamation mark 100 different ways. Like my husband has this problem. I always tell him, do not write your emails and your texts in capital letters. He doesn't see so well. So he writes everything up. Like he's got like a hyperscription. So he writes everything in capital letters. In the etiquette of texting and the etiquette of email, what does capital letters mean?
Just screen.
You're making it very clear.
Screaming at the person. I keep telling him you don't realize. So he could be writing the most simplest, innocent thing, but because it's in capitals, now he's screaming at you. Now, if it was face to face, then you'd know, right? Do you see what's going on here? So this is a really important reality. So being able to respect somebody is the way you're going to communicate with them. And then when you're going to send it via this text business, then we've lost more. If we've lost 73%. Yeah, 73%. No, 93% of the real communication. Did you want to say something, Sheila?
Yes, I did. You know, you were asking how to get kavod. I think it's very important when you come in to meet somebody or in a crowd that you actually acknowledge their presence.
Yes, that's beautiful.
And not ignore them and just.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Very important. Yeah, Lynn?
It helps you remember their name as well.
Yeah. Good point. Good point.
Well said.
Well said. Okay, beautiful. So it's just an interesting idea. So when we're saying, so let's look at this from Rabbi Shlomo Walby. He's a rabbi who's also a psychologist, very, very bright man, and very into being a mensch. Like he's the rabbi who teaches you how to be a mensch. So he says, like, when you give someone kavod, when you give someone honor, right? So how is that a good thing for both parties? The person who gets the honor and the person who's giving the honor. How is it that that's a good thing for everybody involved? Because that's the sad part of today. You know, it's sad. It's sad that they're not giving honor to people who are older than them, or to their teachers, or even to their friends, or to another human being. That's very, very sad. So it's sad for the people who aren't getting it. But the Torah is trying to teach you it's even more sad for the people who aren't giving it. You are missing something,
True.
right? That's what the Torah is trying to say. So what is it that the person who never gives honor to someone else, what are they missing? What do they lose out on?
It'd make you feel good. So
Right.
missing out on that feeling.
Yes, yes.
Now they don't understand how to receive it.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. They don't understand how to receive it. They miss out on that feeling. And anything else? Anything else anybody else could think of?
If you don't give honor, you don't get
Yes, they
honor.
will not, they themselves will not get honor, and they will forget how to honor themselves. I mean, like, it's an interesting idea. You forget that you're valuable too. Like, this is what I'm afraid of. That people are forgetting what their real value is. That's what I'm getting, like, that's what I think hurts me when I see the world the way it is today. It's just feel like nobody is going to be valued anymore. No one. The only person who will be heard, not valued, is the one who yells the loudest and is the bigger bully. That's what you're seeing right now. The person who gets what they want, so to speak, is only the bully. That's all that I'm seeing. Like, there isn't this. So it takes a lot. And what's one of the biggest character traits that you have to be able to give honor to other people?
Humility.
Ah, I love you, Phyllis. Okay. Because that was it. Bang on. Okay. And you have to have humility, because if you don't feel like, you know, someone else has something that you can appreciate, and someone else has something good, and someone else is also, you know, has like some wisdom or something that's amazing to share with you, then you're never going to give anybody else honor. If you're so full of yourself, giving honor means it puts you in a place that you mean you're a little less, right? You have to be able to accept that. You have to be able to accept that this person deserves me to get up out of my seat and to stand up, right? That makes you a little less. Like, I got to give up my comfort. I'm sitting here comfortable. I have to get up now for Bubby and Zadie. What for? I'm like busy. What do you want? Like, you know, what do you mean? I owe them anything. Why should I get up? They should get up for me. Do you see what's going on here? So if you do not have this humility, and humility means an appreciation of yourself and all the people around you, right? Then you're not going to be able to do it. Does this make sense? Everybody? Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay. So let me see what I was going to say. Okay, now, so the Torah tells you, if you chase after honor, right? So you're the kind of person who's like, you know, you better call me, you better this, you better that. You know, you're chasing after honor, or you donate to a lot of causes so that, you know, you could be honored at every single dinner and your name has to be on every building. Then what does the Torah tell you? Will honor follow that person, or will honor run away from that person?
Run away.
Yeah, that's what the mission says. The more you run after honor, the more honor runs away runs from you. Okay. So in other words, you cannot force this issue, right? You can educate your children. You can. When they're young, you know, we need to educate them. This is, you know, you don't talk like that to mommy. You know what I mean? okay, so guys, like I told you, and I think you all agreed, like in South Africa, right? You didn't call your mother's friends by their first names, did you?
No.
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 It was Auntie so and so, right?
Or
It was
Mrs.
the
Bell.
Yeah.
same here.
What? Same here. What did you do,
Same
Lynn?
here when I was growing up. If
Yeah.
my parents' friends were auntie and uncle to
Yes.
us.
Exactly.
And even when my children were quite young,
Yeah.
we did that, except then my sister was insulted because she said, they're not really aunts and uncles. I
Oh.
deserve to be called that.
Okay,
You
just a
can't blame
figure of speech. All right, but okay, but right. So they weren't like, whatever, Cindy, Josh, like. So why is that? Why did we look at life and make that distinction? Right. The Torah does that. The Torah is like, you don't call your teacher by her first name. In the Torah, you call them Mora some teacher so and so, Mora Chani. Even in preschool, it's not like, whatever, it's Mora Chani. We don't talk like using their little first names. So why is that? Why would you teach your children that? Why shouldn't they just be Cindy and John and, like you're my pal, right? So why isn't it like that?
They're not their friends.
Yes.
People who must be respected. They are.
Right. Why do they have to be respected? Because there's more wisdom here. Okay, so we really need to appreciate that. Okay, so we're looking at people, and this I think is let's go full circle, because I want to go. This is what I love about Raya. Okay, because this is an important reality. You were not put on this planet just to grow old. I was talking to Raya about this yesterday. It's to grow wise. Okay, so I don't just respect you because you grew old. If you grew old, like, chas v'shalom, but you can sometimes find people who are like 80 years old and they're still the 16-year-old brat that they always were. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's really sad. Okay, and they're still, and they're real catty, and everything's just about what they own and their trips and their cruises. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so that's a hard reality for the Torah to tell you. You need to respect. Okay, so Torah tell you need to be a mensch to those people, and you need to judge them favorably, whatever the case may be. But what you respect when someone has more years on the planet is that they use the years wisely. Right, and sometimes it's not always that Hashem dishes you an easy plate. Right. You could be on this planet for a long time, and I'm not going to tell you that he's giving you gourmet, best, yummiest, delicious, easiest food to swallow. Okay? Sometimes Hashem is giving you stuff that is very, very hard to swallow. And when you swallow with dignity and with joy and with inspiration, you inspire everyone else around you. You deserve so much kavod. That's what the Torah is saying. Those people who grow old, wise, not just old. Right? Old's going to happen by mistake, not by mistake, by nature. None of us are going to walk away from here. Do you know what I mean? The same way we were when we were 5. Things are going to change, right? And it's going to become what it's going to become. But you can make the difference, do you know what I mean, of who you are from the soul. The body is going to follow its trip. It's wired, and every heart only has this long to go, right? That's the manufacturer's warranty, is not forever. Okay, and we have to appreciate that, and that's okay. That's okay. That's what it is what it is. But this idea, the Torah is telling you, we're going to respect these people because we're going to understand how hard they worked and all the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into life. Do you know what I mean? And to respect somebody for that journey. Do you see what I mean? So you want to look at your journey and use it as wisely as possible. You want to leave this legacy that people have so much to respect you for. That's what the Torah is trying to say. So when you gave respect to other people, that's a big legacy, because they'll have what to respect you back. And if you didn't give any respect to anyone else, then you ended up losing on yourself. You ended up not even having your own self-respect. Do you see what I mean? Right? That person who is 80, who stayed 16, they didn't respect who they were. They didn't respect that they had this incredible soul that could really grow and change and you know what I mean, and move and love and change and do things for the world. Do you see what I'm saying? Does everybody get what I'm talking about? Yeah? Okay. Okay, good. So now, when we do certain actions, it's very, very interesting. So we're saying, like, when we're doing these actions to people, we're standing up, we're open, you know, we're looking at them, we're doing what Sheila said, we're really acknowledging you, we're validating you, then that spreads respect to you, right? And we're saying that respect comes back to us. So there's a concept in Judaism of showing kavod shemayim. What is kavod shemayim? Respect to the Almighty, right? Respect to God. So how do we do that? How do we respect God?
By following his commandments.
So when you do, beautiful. Okay, beautiful. And other ways, how else? Sorry, Marie, were you going to say something? Oh, okay.
Mitzvahs.
Yes, doing mitzvahs when you do what Hashem wants. Then people look and they say, like, when the Jewish people behave, so to speak, like, I think there's so many beautiful things like that Israel does. Like, it's very, very sad that the world wants to turn it. Like, I can't really drives me crazy, you know, like when they call us apartheid and like, it's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. Okay. So look at what Israel does. If they, God forbid, they will never attack the Palestinians or Gaza or any of those places first. That's number one. But when they do something in defense, which guess what? The Torah tells you, and normal life says, if someone's coming to kill you and all your citizens, guess what? You have a mitzvah to do what? Defend yourself. Yes, like, this is bizarre. Okay, so we need to defend ourselves. But what do? We have such respect for human life that before they go and bomb, let's say they're going to bomb an apartment in Gaza, they warn the people to leave. Okay. Have you heard that in any other country in the world? No. Okay. That's
Gail, your sound is going.
Is it? Do you hear me now?
Better now.
Very vaguely.
Oh, really? I don't understand why. Okay. How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Bit better, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, thanks. But you hear what I'm saying? So, like, what a respect for human life. You know, like, so it just, so that is, when you do that, when Israel does that, that's showing not only respect for human life, it's respect for the Torah's principles, and the respect for God. That's, like, important for us. So there's even a concept of honoring the Shabbat. Has anybody ever heard that idea? Kavod Shabbos. You know, if you ever listen to Mrs. Hochman, she'll always tell you that, like, we never had meat. We never, like, when she just did a class not long ago. She it was so funny. She kept, like, saying, "You think you're roughing it?" You know, like, she goes, "You want to know what roughing it is? You don't have a bathroom. You don't have a refrigerator." Like, you know, we're roughing it. The air conditioner isn't blowing at 100. You know, we're dying. We're roughing it. She's like, I thought I was going to plot. It was so funny. Okay. Anyway, so she was talking about, like, how, like, they hardly had anything, you know, but for Shabbos, like, they would say, this is in the honor of Shabbat. Like, during the week, I think they ate, like, you know, really icky black bread, you know. So then for Shabbos, they had white flour, you know, like, stuff that we all take for granted. Right? So it was just very interesting. So there is this concept of honoring the Shabbat. Okay, so anybody have ideas? Who gives ideas of how to honor the Shabbat?
Well, you don't do any cooking.
I think it's your
Yes. Okay, so honoring the Shabbat.
I think it's your connection with it's your connection with Shabbat and honoring what she did. He rested on Shabbos. You rest on Shabbos. It's your connection.
How do we show honor to Shabbat? Like, Shabbat is supposed to be an extra special day. So what do we do that's extra special? Like, you know, compare.
You dress well.
Yes.
You put on your best clothes. You take out your best.
Beautiful.
Don't switch on the TV. Don't.
Yes, but you do all these very beautiful things too. So when you go shopping in Sobeys, right? You guys have Friday night dinners. Okay, so there's like a roast, right? And then there's like a better roast. So what do? You say Lakovit Shabbos Kodesh in honor of the Shabbat by the better roast, right? This is good because the Torah tells you whenever you do that, like God pays you back for all that money spent. So, you're going to go buy jewelry, okay? Just be smart. In honor of the Shabbat, I need the better pearls. Way to get the better necklace. Okay, so these are just, very beautiful ideas. So what sometimes can be very hard as Jewish people is that when we wear the uniform, right? When people know that we're Jews, they expect more from us because there you go. They expect more from us, right? So sometimes like it's hard, like you know what I mean, like like the world kind of looks at us and well, the Jewish people, they do this and this. So we have to be kind of hyper respectful. And I think it's important for us to remember to know that. Because sometimes, like, you go to a store and you're rude to the person, and then if people go, oh, well, that's the Jews. I don't expect anything better from them anyway. They're so pushy. They're always, Jewing you down. They're always looking for the best deal. Like, so we just have to realize sometimes, like, I know it's hard, right? But it's just like the same thing. Like you have a little bit more of an expectation from well, once upon a time you did, like from a police officer or from, people that they're going to kind of live up to the respectful reputation. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just like important for us to understand that, because sometimes you're like, why are they judging me so hard? Because there was more expected from me. Because the person that's deserving of more respect needs to act more respectfully. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. Now, let me see what else there is. I want to ask you really personal question. Okay, so this is just a very cute story. Here's a very cute story, and then we're going to end with the story. It's just a very cute story. So it's about this family. It was true. So the father, he had this son. Sometimes you have this kid that you just see they've got a really good soul. Like every one of us has different kids. There's always that one who's, or you hope so. There's always that one that's like a little more special. You know what I mean? Like just a little more kinder. If you ask them, they're going to go, okay, no problem. Like they just have a sweeter disposition. Okay, we all know everybody's got, and it's all good because you love all of them. The tough and rough are also just as much fun. But it's just that one that you could rely on. They're not going to say anything back to you. You're gonna, this is the one like you go, just could you go to Sobeys and pick this up? Sure, I'd love to. Not the one who goes, yes, but not now. I always love that one who goes, just not now, but I need it now. It's like, well, okay. So anyway. So this family, they had one of these little boys. Okay, so they called him Kadosh, which means holy. They called him Little Holy One. Okay, they really loved him. They called him Little Kadosh. He was really cute. So they tell the story about he was like just one of these good kids. He was like really, really good, and he kind of wanted to grow into his name. Like it's funny how there is that concept. If you get labeled, so if you give somebody a positive label, and you're very respectful of them, and you kind of tell them, because we said respecting is pointing out what's really good about you, right? And saying, you're really so sweet, or you're really this, you're really that. They called him Little Kadosh. And so one day they were on a family trip, and poor Little Kadosh had to go to the bathroom. And the nearest bathroom, they just couldn't find it. They're in the car, and it's like so far, and it's like they're really having a hard time. Finally, they stop the car. The older son gets out. He takes this Little Kadosh, and the only place that he had a place to go to the bathroom was this like real sleazy bar. Okay, so they walk into this bar, and it's sleazeville. Like everybody's drunk and people are doing really horrible things, and there's people thrown up in the corner and daring each other, all these horrible stuff. So the older brother goes, okay, we're going to go straight to the bathroom. And he turns around and he says to him, you know what? I'm Little Kadosh, right? Little Kadosh can't go to the bathroom in a place like this. I can't see these things. This isn't for me. It's just an interesting idea. So sometimes that's what I think is good for us, like to realize that we're that little Kadosh. That's what Hashem is saying on every one of us. And you are very special, sir. You really are. Like, keep them precious. You know what I mean? Don't take the bar down. Don't go to places. Don't do things, you know what I mean, that really aren't you. Just because everyone else is. I just think it's like a very nice message. Okay, guys, are you good? Okay.
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
so now, Raya, can you unmute? Raya, can you unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yes. So could you give us all, I got a blessing already, but I'll take a second one. But on your birthday, you have the power to bless. So even if it's the day later, you anyway, I think, have the power to bless no matter what day it is. So if you could give us a blessing, I think we'd all appreciate it.
Yes, of course. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, good. I just want to bless each and every one of you to have good health and to have lots and lots of nachas from your beautiful families. Just with all my love, and thanks for everything, and thanks for keeping in touch and supporting me, because without your help, I couldn't possibly manage to reach this age, and with so much love and understanding. And I love you all dearly, and thanks for being so special.
Our pleasure. Thank you, right? Thank you, thank you. We're all making hearts
Right.
and sending kisses.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, thank you,
Right, and a big
Thank
group
you,
hug.
thank
Group
you.
hug to everybody. Okay. All right, everyone.
Thanks,
Have a wonderful
Gail, and happy
day.
birthday,
Okay, and I'll
Raya.
send out the,
Thank you, thank you, thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you,
Thank you.
Thanks,
thank
everybody.
you.
Bye-bye.